Good morning. Welcome back to the Teacher's Wake Up Call. Yes, it's been, I think, a week and a bit. Yeah. I had an eye infection, but I'm not here to talk about the eye infection because the eye infection didn't really make me feel like I wanted to film because like this eye was swollen and it wasn't pretty. No, I am here to talk about Black History Month. I wasn't even sure what I was going to talk about until just now. And I said to myself, as a French teacher, as a French second language teacher, what do I do to highlight Black History Month in my class? And I don't want to say it's not an easy task. I always say that in French class there's so much flexibility that I can incorporate almost anything. Like I can incorporate a history class if I wanted to in my French class, which I did yesterday. Because yesterday I chose to show a documentary on the Haitian community in Montreal and its history. And in Quebec, not just Montreal, in Quebec. And I did a very, very short, intense crash course on the history of Haiti. And I'm not an expert, but I would like to think that I have an ability to summarize a lot of information succinctly. Like, I remember summarizing My Hero Academia to a friend of mine who doesn't watch anime. It's like, it's a school for superheroes. And this one kid isn't too sure of which power he has. There we go. So yeah, so I gave a crash course on that. And we started watching the documentary, and it's easy. It's in the accent is something that students sometimes are sensitive to, so it's spoken in Québécois French, and students understood most of the content, I think because I showed it to all of my classes. And they have some comprehension questions, they have some opinion questions, reflection questions. But that's not the only thing that I do for Black History Month, because in the past, if I felt that the groups were up to it, aka would they benefit from this? Would this be something that they would be entertained by? Like I read with them a short story by James Baldwin, Sonny's Blues, a short story that I read when I was in CEGEP, and found the French version of it, and I did not know at that time when I was in CEGEP. I had no idea that James Baldwin was big in France. I had no idea because it was read within an English class and was in mythology, and we didn't really focus on James Baldwin. So I had no idea. I just knew, okay, Black author in the United States. And it was later on that I did some research and I went, really? He left the US because of the political climate and he established himself in France. So he was huge. There are interviews online of him speaking only French, and it's chef's kiss. It's amazing because then I can show like, look, he's American and he's able to communicate in French. And like the students watch that and they're fascinated. So sometimes I do that. I also show a lot of stuff in English, but I make them think in French. So I will give them, let's say, a documentary on the discriminatory practices in the music industry towards Black people. And it's on CBC Docs for those who are interested. And I make them answer questions en français. So they have to transfer the content that they've listened to in English and then share their thoughts in French. It's I mean, it's a great documentary. It's an eye opener on the very horrible practices that exist, and I don't want to say that that still exist today. You know, in some weird way, they still exist. Those practices, and it's. I think the students appreciate it because I think it makes them see the music that they consume in a very different light. I also show them little video clips. Okay, so it's very easy to fall into the Black American history and talk about, you know, Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman, but that's not Canadian history. That's not Canadian history. It's not Québécois history. And I told them, yes, it's important to learn about these people as well, but that's not what defines us. We have a very different reality, and it's important to learn about our reality as well. So a lot of broadcasters like the CBC, Radio-Canada, and I haven't had the chance to look in depth onto the Télé-Québec website, which is another broadcaster here in the province. But I know that CBC and Radio-Canada they've made significant effort in offering documentaries, content, even TV shows that show diversity. It's a good thing. It's now I don't have the time to watch all these TV shows, but I do try to watch documentaries because that's something that I can easily show in class and have them reflect on the content. And I know Radio-Canada has a page on their website dedicated to Black History Month for kids. So there are shorter videos, and there are a ton of resources, Canadian resources online on Black History Month. But you know, in this day and age, with our kids, you need something that is quick and understandable, and something that they can relate to. So I'm going to be showing them some content like that. And there's also, I know it's Black American history, but sometimes some of the concepts within the videos are great. Crash Course Black American History came out, I think, about 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. And it was so well done, so sobering. The delivery was not flippant. It wasn't dismissive. It talked about very hard topics that are still hard today. And I sometimes show certain videos to my students, especially about Black migration, because some of the students that I have this notion that Black communities stayed in the South, and they don't understand the process in which a lot of Black families basically emigrated from the South to the North of the United States, and that also has had an influence on Canadian society and Canadian communities as well. So that's the content that I show them. It's a bit of a mix of a lot. I try to focus. I'm doing my best to show French content, but every now and again I stumble upon that one resource that is just so good, so solid, and I use it in its language. And sometimes it has to be English, but it doesn't mean that I don't capitalize on it and I don't use it to push my students to think in French and to practice their French skills. And I always tell them, you know, sometimes that's life. You are confronted with different languages, And you have to interpret and take that language and understand it and make it your own. And that's bilingualism. Bilingualism is being able to go from one language to another and being able to transfer your knowledge from one language to another. So that's what I do for Black History Month. That's what I do. Today, for instance, we're finishing the documentary, and I'm going to be showing those little video clips that I told you about from the CBC, Radio-Canada, to my grade 10s. That's on the menu today, and it's really chilly today. It's like we had a couple of days of like, oh, -3, -5 Celsius, and today is back to -15. Can we get to spring yet? Can we get to March break? Could we get to March break? I would like to sleep in a bit. I know that my body won't let me, but I'd like to have that semblance of, or that permission to sleep in a bit. Just saying. We're coming close. We're done. Have yourselves an awesome day.